All right, welcome all sports fans to episode number 5 of the GT 100 podcast 2025 Real Sports Talk. We keep it 100 here on the podcast where we talk professional and college sports. So we do NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC. I'm sorry, and we also do boxing. We can talk wrestling. We go to college and talk basketball, baseball, softball, anything that you guys want to talk about, soccer, anything. Let us know. We'll definitely talk about it here on the podcast. On the screen, I got my sports partner. We come on Monday through Friday. James Johnson. James, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing good, man. Doing good, man. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, something. I've been talking to some people, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get better. You look a lot better than I do on the screen. I'm looking at you, and I said, man, I said the other day, James comes in, man, he's looking fly, like he's got flavor, like he's looking good, he's looking sharp.
Yeah.
And I was telling some guy, I said, I'm just coming in there like a regular dude. I said, I'm gonna have to start, getting some nice clothes, some shades. I said, I gotta stay up with James. So just gotta just throw out there, man. You definitely are dressing for the occasion. You're looking good, man. And I said, man, I'm gonna have to start upping my game here to compete with James when it
All
comes
right. All right.
to. Let's get started here. So definitely before we get started, last week I told you we're going to talk more NFL, and we are. Training camp is just around the corner, and so definitely want to get James's thoughts and my thoughts on last year's teams, and then as training camp starts, we'll definitely be talking about what's hitting the headlines. So we'll definitely be talking more NFL, and then sometime middle late week we'll also get into college. James and I both watch college. So definitely we'll be talking more football. With that being said, we'll also talk about other stuff that's hitting the headlines in baseball and soccer and boxing and basketball, whatever's hitting. But definitely football is going to be our main topic here for the next couple of months. So before we get into the NFL, I definitely want to talk a little bit about baseball. And everyone knows on my team, or those that have been following me. So I love the Houston Astros, right? And so the Astros have really been playing good as of late. With all the injuries that they had, the pitching really they've had a lot of injuries. McCullers was coming back. Had a bad game about a week or two ago. So with all the injuries, Jordan Alvarez, the big slugger, has been out, still not back. I thought, man, we're really going to struggle. And then Houston's been getting on this win streak, right? They've been winning a lot of games, and they've been winning these games, and they're first place in their division by about 7 games or so. But I thought, okay, they're playing some teams, Kansas City. They're not really these top teams. So I saw coming down the LA Dodgers and Houston had to go to LA. And I thought, okay, here we go. This is where I'm going to find out just exactly where my Astros are, because the Dodgers are like playing lights out. And then they get this big win in game one, like 18-1 or something, really put it to the Dodgers. I said, okay, that was good. Dodgers had an off night. And then game two, they won. And then game three, they won Friday, Saturday, Sunday. To go into LA and sweep the Dodgers is huge. So just wanted to put that out there, man. The pitch has been great. Valdez, Hunter Brown, McCullers had a good one, but the hitting has been great without Jordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve doing what he does, Walker, all these guys that they put together, man, are really playing great. So I'm going to go out here on a limb, James, and say the Astros, I think, are going to continue in this trend because they really got a lot of injuries, and they're not even fully healthy. And I think when they start getting some of their pitchers back and they start getting Jordan Alvarez back, gets into the rotation, this team is really going to be tough. So I'm going to say right now, I think that they will win their division one, and they will be in the playoffs. I'm not going to say that we're going back to the World Series just yet, but the Astros are definitely playing great. Watching them every day, and great job there by the manager and Dana Brown. Right, I think that's the guy that's putting it all together. He's there was some question marks there, but now with this team, the chemistry, you kind of see the front office doing a great job putting this team together, and they're winning games. So definitely just wanted to talk a little bit about my Astros. Really happy right now because they're definitely winning, and just sweeping the Dodgers was no easy feat, and they were able to do it in LA. So also awesome. So James, let's go over to the NFL now. And last week we talked about the AFC East. That was the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets, the New England Patriots. Correct me if I'm wrong, James, but James is saying early on, and remember, we can switch our picks until after once week one starts of football. That's it. We're locked in. But right now, James has stated he's not going to change his mind unless there's an injury. But he's taking the Miami Dolphins to win that division, and I can see why they should have won the division the last couple of years because I think they were better than Buffalo. But Buffalo and Josh Allen have been really great. So I'm taking Buffalo to win that division. James is taking Miami. So just kind of wanted to recap that. And now we're going to go down to the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns. So this is the way it ended last year with Buffalo 12-5. I'm sorry, Baltimore 12-5 winning the division. Then the Pittsburgh Steelers came in second. Cincinnati started off really, really bad at the beginning and then kind of put it together toward the end, but not enough to make the playoffs. And then Cleveland 3-14. So before we break these teams down and where we think they're going to rank this upcoming year, let's talk about each one. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, pretty good defense. James, this team makes the playoffs. Do they make the AFC Championship game this year?
Well, I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're gonna make the the AFC Championship. They got some good additions. They got Jair Alexander, Malachi Starks, who they drafted in the first round. But me personally, I don't have no confidence in the Baltimore Ravens because for the simple reason, the Baltimore Ravens have had every opportunity to make it to the AFC Championship and to go to the Super Bowl. You had every opportunity. Last year, you had Derrick Henry, who ran for 1,900 yards against Pittsburgh in the wild card game. He ran for 184 yards. They turn around and play the Buffalo Bills. He ran for 84 yards. And then, Lamar Jackson done everything he could do to will his team to a win, and Mark Andrews drop a pass in the end zone. They hit him right in the numbers. What did he want? Lamar Jackson to walk up to him and hand them the touchdown or the 2-point conversion? I just don't have no confidence in the Ravens, and I have no confidence. John Harbaugh, he had a good run with Baltimore. He had some good seasons with Baltimore. I don't think that with Lamar Jackson, the team they got, John Harbaugh can take him to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Who do you think in the AFC, because you said they'll get into the playoffs, but who do you think in the AFC other teams that Baltimore will not be able to beat?
I don't think Baltimore will be able to beat Cincinnati. But Cincinnati also got to sign Trey Henderson. They all-world, all-pro defensive end. But me personally, I don't think Baltimore is going to beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati know what it takes to get to the Super Bowl. Baltimore don't.
That's a good point. And I do think Cincinnati is going to be better this year. They just got to get to, because they always finish strong. It's the start of the season where they go 0-5, 0-4. That's what I'm going to be looking for at the start of the season for Cincinnati. They have got to get off to a great start. They cannot go 0-4, 1-5, whatever that could look like, because then they're struggling in a division with Baltimore. They've got to get off to a great start. I like Lamar Jackson. I want to see him win. I want to see him in the Super Bowl #1. I like Derrick Henry. I think Henry still has he's barely going to be 30, or is he 29, 30, right? Something like that.
Close to that.
Yeah. And I still think he's one of the best running backs in the NFL, my opinion. I like this team offensively. I thought last year, if he catches the 2-point conversion, I think he dropped. You can't drop that. A professional or a receiver, a tight end, you can't drop that. And that really hurt them. I do think I don't know if they can beat Cincinnati. I'm with you. I think that's going to be a great matchup to see. They're going to play twice in the division. I think Cincinnati's going to be a lot better. So that's going to be a run for them. They're going to have their hands full this year trying to win the division against Cincinnati. But then you've got Kansas City, the Chargers, Houston, Buffalo. So let's just go this way with Baltimore. I'm gonna put these teams. I'm gonna put the Chargers. I'm gonna put Kansas City, Houston, and Buffalo. If Baltimore gets past Cincinnati, which one of those teams can they not beat, or can they beat all three of them? Kansas City, Houston, Buffalo.
Has Lamar Jackson beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs yet?
No,
There you go.
but it's coming.
Baltimore is not going to beat Kansas City.
Okay.
Kansas City got their number. They are intimidated by Kansas City before the game even starts.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right there. Can't argue that point because that's one thing that they have not been able to do. I still think they're a team that this is a good team. They're good enough to win the division, right? They're good enough to go into the playoffs, but they're not good enough to get to the AFC championship, or they're not good enough to get to the Super Bowl. They're not strong enough. You're saying this team is not better than Kansas City because the Super Bowl has to go through Kansas City. If you're going to get to the AFC, through the AFC into the Super Bowl, it's going to go through Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, right? So you're saying if Baltimore gets to that point, and they end up playing Kansas City, to get to an AFC championship, or they play them in the AFC championship, however that works out, to the Super Bowl, you're saying that you don't have any faith that Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry can beat Kansas City. I know they haven't done it, but still this year, if they play, you would say no chance.
I think the best chance that the Baltimore Ravens had was last year. That was their best chance last year. Everybody done caught up with the Ravens. A lot of teams are caught up with Kansas City. Mm-hmm. A lot of teams are caught up with Cincinnati. You know, the AFC is strong right now. The best quarterbacks in the AFC right now. I just think that, you know, Baltimore, you had your chance last year, and I don't see them even getting past the second round of the playoffs.
Oh man. Whew. Okay, that's good time. Now, again, we're going to continue talking NFL until we get to a week one. So a lot to talk about. There's also going to be training camp, and we'll get more into that. And then, of course, there's the preseason couple of games. So all of this, the preseason really isn't going to tell us much about Baltimore because you don't really have Lamar and them playing a lot of these games with Derrick Henry. So it's not really going to tell us a lot about what they're going to do. We're not really going to know what Baltimore can do until we start seeing them play in the division against Cincinnati and against some of these other teams that are not in their division. So after about week 4, week 5, we'll be able to tell a little bit more where Baltimore will be. But right now, James is saying Baltimore will not get far. I still like them. So right now, I'm definitely not putting them in the AFC championship, but I definitely think they can get there. I like the team. I like Derrick Henry. I'm a Derrick Henry fan. And Lamar Jackson, he's gotten better, man. But we'll see. Like you said, there's just so many tough teams in the AFC. Great quarterbacking. It's just hard to get to the Super Bowl. So definitely Baltimore 12-5 last year, 6-2 at home, 6-3 away, 4-2 in the division, the conference 8-4. So they won the division. We'll see if they can do it again this year in 2025. Then let's go to the second team last year in the division. That was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They went 10-7. 5-3 at home, 5-4 away, 3-3 in the division, 7-5 in the conference. But a lot of changes here you and I've talked about. They now have Aaron Rodgers. So they went to the playoffs last year with Russell Wilson. They now have Aaron Rodgers. He's older, but it's still an upgrade, I think, from Russell Wilson. Where do you have the Steelers? Or talk to us a little bit about the Steelers. Will they even make the playoffs? I don't even have them making the playoffs.
If the Steelers make the playoff, it'll be an outside chance as a wild card. Me, I don't. Come on, Aaron Rodgers. You know, it's time for you to retire. Time for you to retire. Pittsburgh, you go sign DJ Metcalf from my Seahawks. Y'all give him, how much was it? 150 million?
Over 100, yeah.
I'm going to give you his stats last year, Gabe. He had 66 receptions, 992 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Is that a player that you want to give $150 million to?
No.
Who's up?
I read something about his contract. I can't really remember what I read. It's been about 2 weeks ago, but I think his contract, the way it's stated, they could break away with him early on. There's something in his contract. I'm gonna look into it for tomorrow, where if he doesn't produce something, I read there's something they can. I don't know if they can buy him out, but they can kind of, I don't know what the years were, but they can kind of terminate that contract if things don't work out between them. I'll get more into that. I think it was on him that I read that, but I don't like first of all, they don't have enough receipt. I don't know where they're going to get their points. Let's go offensively. Defensively, they're great. Now they got this issue with Watt, they still haven't signed him from what I knew of yesterday. That's a huge, yeah, that's huge. They got rid of Fitzpatrick. They bring in Ramsey. I don't know how good of a move that was. Oh no, it was no. Yeah, it was right. Fitzpatrick went to Miami and Ramsey came over to Pittsburgh. Is that correct?
Who?
Jalen Ramsey. Didn't he come to Pittsburgh?
Yes. And I'm tell you one thing about Jalen Ramsey. You know, he was a 16th ranked cornerback last year. 16th ranked quarterback last year in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And you get rid of top safety and Minkah Fitzpatrick for a 16th ranked cornerback.
That didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. And now with that, there was a lot of questions. Okay, why are we doing this? And then now TJ Watt hasn't been signed. Look, for me, are they kind of what are they doing with TJ Watt? He's your best defensive player, right? Like you need him. You would think that because he's playing on his last year, this is last year, you would think they would have signed him up already. Like, I don't understand what the delay is, right? Unless they're really planning on not bringing him back, right? Like something's going on there. He's a little older now. Myles Garrett from Cleveland just signed a big contract. So, they're going to have to pay Watt. I mean, I looked at Watt's stats. They're a little bit better than Garrett, I think, overall. Mm-hmm. So, Watt's seen what Garrett got paid, so he's going to want the bag, and I think that's what Cleveland's waiting on. I mean, should we pay him? Should we not? Because if it was a sure deal, he'd already got his money. I mean, he's one of your top players. Is the age factor kind of playing in now? Do they think that they're going to see a decline? They're not going to get their money's worth with TJ Watt, or what's the thought process here? They still got a little bit of time to sign him. But as of today, I think I hadn't read anything. I hadn't got no notifications that he's been signed. So we don't know there with TJ Watt what that defense is going to look like. Then you go to offense, you've got a 40-plus-year-old quarterback. You got Metcalf, who, like you said, just said his stats, not a guy that goes out there and really runs the field all over the place. Kind of where you can hit him and down the middle. I don't even think he goes down the middle. So he's not one of these guys. He's a big target down the field, but he's not one of these guys that's going to get into the middle and take those hits from what I've seen. So where are they going to get their points? I mean, you're playing against Baltimore. They score a lot of points. You're playing against Cincinnati. They score a lot of points. That's Derrick Henry. That's Lamar Jackson. That's Joe Burrows. And he's got these two wide receivers and Higgins and Chase. So you're going to have to score. As good as that Pittsburgh defense is, you've got to score points, more than 10, 14 points to beat Baltimore, to beat Cincinnati. Where are they going to get their points at? I look at their roster.
I don't see.
Yeah.
I looked at who's the running back
for Pittsburgh?
Yes. You don't even know.
No, I did. Let me see. I'll get to it here. I'll look it up here in a bit. I can't remember who I saw. Okay. It wasn't a big name that caught my eye.
You got Jonnu Smith. He's a good tight end. But you can't win NFL football games with your tight ends. You can't do that. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to win like that. Like I said, Pittsburgh got an outside chance of making the wild card. An outside chance of making the wild card. Or this possibly can be the first losing season Mike Tomlin had since he's been at Pittsburgh.
Caleb Johnson,
Who was that?
Jalen Warren.
Okay, yeah, Jalen Warren, he backed up Najee Harris last year.
So Jalen Warren is a starter. Caleb Johnson is the second backup. So it's really gonna be Jalen Warren. So I don't know much about him. What do you know about him?
I know he was a backup to Najee Harris last year.
Yeah.
That was it. He's not no explosive back. He's a downhill back like Najee Harris was.
And I think the mobility of Aaron Rodgers, when you think about Aaron Rodgers in his younger years, Aaron could make plays on the run. Consistently he beat defenses with his mobility, right? Being able to run out of the pocket. That's not there anymore. So that takes a lot out of what made Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is kind of declined a little, right? He can't really do that anymore. So you don't have that Aaron Rodgers, the MVP Aaron Rodgers. Yes, you got Aaron Rodgers, and we all know what he's done. But the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025 are not getting MVP Aaron Rodgers. That's why the signing didn't make sense to me to go out young, because if I thought that Aaron Rodgers, if he plays 1 more year, 2 more years, and I thought we really had a good chance of getting to the Super Bowl, then I take that chance to win the Super Bowl. But Aaron Rodgers at best may get you into the playoffs and then you're done, right? That's what we think. So why waste a year with him when there's nothing that states he can get you to the big game, and not take a chance on Shedeur Sanders or someone younger that by next year you're going to be looking for another quarterback, could then get you 1 year under his belt and could start being competitive quickly, unless they really just didn't think Shedeur Sanders was the guy they were looking at to play or to take them to the next level. What I'm saying is they should have gotten a younger quarterback. I wanted to see a younger quarterback. They might have struggled this year, but have 1 year under his belt for next year to be better, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't really do anything. To me, it's a wasted year for Pittsburgh to have Aaron Rodgers, because there's no way that they're gonna beat these teams that we're talking about: Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston. And then you've got the Chargers and you've got Denver. It just doesn't make sense to me that he can beat any of these teams. So I don't like the pickup to Aaron Rodgers. TJ Watt is a big question. Look, they were second in the division. Where do you have them this year? Do you think they can be the second again?
No, I got them third.
Okay.
I got Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and the dog pound.
The dog pound. They ain't been a dog pound in quite some time. But definitely understand that. Look, I think Pittsburgh, they might even struggle with Cleveland, James. I mean, depending on what Cleveland, we'll talk about them here in a minute, but they got some quarterbacks there. Cleveland's still a big question mark. However, they decide to go places. They may be able to beat Pittsburgh too and be able to win more games. I don't like the Aaron Rodgers. And if TJ Watt is not on that defense, which I think he will be, but if he's not, they don't pay him that money, it's really going to be bad for Pittsburgh. And I think this is the first losing season that Tomlin may have in Pittsburgh. I'm not liking what they have, because I don't see where they can score enough points to win. So going to keep a good eye on them. So then we're going to jump over to Cincinnati. The Bengals 9-8 last year, 3-5 at home, 6-3 away, 3-3 in the division, 6-6 conference. I think that 3-3 in the division is going to be a lot better. James has them early on here as the favorite to win the division. James, I'm going to go with you right now early on. I don't think I'll change either. I like Joe Burrows. I think they are going to play better. I think they're going to get off to a great start this year. He's got those 2 running backs. Those 2 receivers. They can score a lot of points. For them, it's defensively. Defensively, can they hold some people? Because they're going to score 30-plus points more time than not. They're going to score a lot of points. I don't care how good your defense is. It is hard to stop Joe Burrow and those dudes that he's got on the side of him. So for me, as good as that defense can be, right? Because the defense for Cincinnati doesn't have to be shutout defense. Because if you're the defense, you're saying our offense can score. They're going to score a lot of points more times than not. So all we got to do is just be average, a little above average. We don't have to be spectacular because our offense scores. So if they can just be good consistently and not give up so many points, they're going to win a lot more games. I have Cincinnati winning the division. I have Baltimore second. I do have Pittsburgh third and Cleveland fourth. But I like Cincinnati. I think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to be in the AFC Championship game. And I think if you're Buffalo, if you're Baltimore, if you're Houston, if you're even Kansas City, you're saying, I don't want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs. What do you say to that?
If Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are healthy, they are forced to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
No cornerbacks in the entire NFL can hold Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. Not nobody, not no cornerbacks in the NFL can hold those two players one-on-one. You double team Jamar Chase, T. Higgins gonna catch for 200 yards. You double team T. Higgins, Jamar Chase gonna catch for 250 yards. I like Chase. At first, I didn't like Chase Brown, but I've been watching him, and I think they have a real good chance, man, of making it back to the Super Bowl. Man, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, they're tough. I like them. Like I said, to me, it's amazing. Look, they went 9-8 last year. And Joe Burrow really didn't have the best season team-wise, but statistically, that guy was still able to score a lot of points, which tells me the offense scores points, man. They score points. He throws the ball down the field. Like everybody knows what he's going to do, yet they're hard to stop. I don't see them slowing down this year. If the offensive line can be above average, they ain't got to be great, but they can be above it because he does so much. And the defense can be above average. Who's going to stop this offense? They're dangerous, real dangerous.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, they're going to be a force to reckon with, man. They are. I like Kansas City, but like I said, I don't have no confidence in the Baltimore Ravens. What was the last good quarterback that Lamar Jackson went against and beat in the playoffs?
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm taking Joe Burrow over Lamar any day. I mean, I just love Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow shows up in the big games. He's been doing this since college, right? He just shows up, and because the first time I saw him, he was playing my Texas Longhorns, and he just in Austin, he just showed out, right? Of course, he had talent, but since he has been in the NFL, he's shown the team may not be that good, right? But he's really good. And he just, in big games, he shows up. He just shows up. And Lamar Jackson, he's getting there. But yes, if I had to.
Come on, he's getting there, Gabe. He's been 8 years, 7, 8 years, 9 years.
Well, I think Joe Burrows was a good quarterback. Remember, Lamar Jackson was a running guy. He wasn't a thrower that much. His games had to evolve. He's had to realize that he's not going to win it alone, right? Like he's had to be able to change and evolve his game. He's had to be more of a passer, and I think he's gotten better. Listen, if Andrews catches that ball, that tight end catches the ball, they may go to the next round. I mean, it wasn't his fault. He put his team in a position to win. I mean, there's nothing else he could do except go throw it, and then he go to the end zone and catch it, right? He's a quarterback. He did everything last year because I didn't think he played bad. He did everything to put his team in a position to win, and they had a chance to tie it. Man, his tight end dropped the ball. He got to catch it. Now, I'm not saying that he would have beat Kansas City because they haven't done that. But I thought his game, I think he's been better every year. That's why I think he's going to be good this year. They went out and got Derrick Henry so he could run the ball, right? So he wouldn't have to pass a lot. They've got the tools to win. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he was just an MVP, about a year ago? So he's not like this quarterback that can't win the games. He's just got to be able to win the big games. I thought last year, he did pretty good to win that game, but this freaking quarterback dropped the ball. Got to catch the ball. Yes.
Yeah. I understand that, man, but like I said before, Lamar Jackson has not beaten a top-ranked quarterback in the playoffs.
That's true. Okay. I mean, I'll give you that. I still think they're still a team for me to reckon with, but I do not have them beating Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's got something to prove. Joe Burrow, if I had to take a quarterback between Lamar and Joe, I'm taking Joe Burrow. I've been a Joe Burrow fan, not an LSU fan, but a Joe Burrow fan for quite some time. since I started seeing him in college. So I like him. And I do think Cincinnati, right now, I'm taking them, and I don't think I'm going to change. So definitely Cincinnati. I got Cincinnati, and then Baltimore, and then Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. Let's talk about the Browns. You and
Oh,
I have talked a lot about these guys. 3-14 last year. We've got them to finish last place again this year. 2-6 at home, 1-8 on the road, 2-4 in the division, 3-9 in conference. Okay, here we go. First of all, I hate it, and you got to be the dumbest owner GM in the history of the NFL to pay a quarterback guaranteed money. What was it? 230 million guaranteed.
$30 million guaranteed.
Guaranteed. And
Yeah.
so and so the worst thing that can happen is, okay, don't get hurt, because we want you to play on the field. And their worst dreams come true. He gets hurt. I don't think he's played a full season. How many?
2 years in a row he got hurt.
I know. And how many games do you know offhand how many games he's played? I don't think he's even played a full season.
He hasn't played a full season yet.
Yeah. And you know what, James? He's not going to. Why in the heck am I going to go out there and play and risk getting injured? Well, I'm getting 230 million regardless. He's not coming back. And I think Cleveland knows that. They got to eat that money now.
Yeah,
But that was what a dumb move, right? Like I never understood it to guarantee him. Look, if he's he wasn't in, and you went and paid him $230 million without him ever even putting on the uniform. Like if he was a guy that you drafted and he was on his second contract or third contract, okay, you know what? If he's Joe Burrow and I'm Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow's already taken us to the Super Bowl. All right, you know what? Your next contract, we're going to guarantee him money. I still think that's crazy, but I could understand a little bit better why. We drafted him. He's taken us to the Super Bowl. We know he can do it. This was a guy that Cleveland had never even known or been a part of their franchise. He had never worn a Browns jersey. He'd never been part of the team. And you say, to come over here, I'm going to give you $230 million. I think
guaranteed.
yeah, guaranteed. And so I'm thinking, you don't even know this guy. He's never played. He's done nothing for your franchise, and you basically gave him the bag. It never made sense to me. That is why Cleveland is where they're at, 3-14. Now, moving forward, James, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and the old man, Joe Flacco. Now, I want to break this down. We've seen a little bit of stuff. Cleveland does go take a chance with Shador. They've got two young guys coming out of college that can really show them something. They have to get this right. Stefanski has to get and make the right pick here moving forward. Talk to me a little bit about Cleveland, because you and I have talked a lot about him. You think Shador should start, and I agree with you, correct?
I think Shador should start. I'm going to give you Pickett's stats when the last time he started the whole season for Pittsburgh. He threw for 24 yards, 7 TDs, and 9 interceptions. QBR of 53.6. That's the last time he started. That was his stats. Last time he started. Joe Flacco, he done pretty good in the 5 games. He had 1,600 yards, 13 TDs, 8 interceptions, and a QBR of 90.2. That was in five games he started for Cleveland. But then you got blew out in the playoffs. What Cleveland need to do is get rid of Pickett and Flacco and let the two young guys fight for that starting quarterback position.
Agree.
That's what they need to do.
I agree, because look, you're gonna have to eat the Deshaun Watson money. He's done. You got to pay him his money, and he's got to be done. He's not. Yeah, you just got to pay him his money, whatever he's owed, and move on from him.
Yeah,
and I think you have two quarterbacks that are capable of showing you some things. Yes, it's going to be a struggle this year, but I think even with Joe Flacco, because look, let's look at it this way. Okay, with Joe Flacco, let's say you start Joe Flacco, you're not beating Baltimore, and you sure as heck ain't beating Cincinnati. So at best,
Third.
at best, you're going to be third or last place, honestly. So if you take Pickett, these guys that have been in the NFL, at best third, probably fourth. So what do you got to lose? It's not like you're playing for a playoff. It's not like you're playing to win.
You're not going
right to win the division. Why not start these? What I don't want to see is start Flacco and 5 weeks, 6 weeks, we're done. You knew you're not going anywhere. Flacco's not taking you anywhere. He might win you a couple of games maybe with his experience, but you ain't going nowhere. So
a couple games.
So give these guys a full season, right? Like I'm sitting there. I'm talking about Flacco. You come in if there's an injury or something, whatever. But I'm going with you. I'm using Flacco as experience to help my young guys, right? I'm using Flacco. You've been there. Help me with Shador and Dylan Gabriel. But if I'm Stefanski, I'm saying, look, realistically, behind the doors, we ain't going to the playoffs. We ain't winning the division. So
anything is with Shador Sanders.
Yeah. So let's get these guys.
He's a good player. But he don't have the skill or the skill set of Shador Sanders. He doesn't. Pickett don't, Flacco don't, or Dylan Gabriel don't. They need to get a range to Shador Sanders. He's everything that he got in these mini camps, he's showing you. And the veterans on the team see it.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I'm saying I don't want to wait till week 7 or week 8 to put him in there. Get him started early. Let him get the field. You're going to struggle. Yes, he's not going to come in here and dominate. I mean, there's going to be struggles like every young quarterback does, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. You know, there was high picks with this guy. He may surprise you and win more games at the start than what we thought, right? We don't know. But sitting down this young guy or sitting down even Gabriel, sitting them down does nothing for your franchise, nothing at all. These guys getting as many games as they can play, win or lose. But that's probably where your future is going to be in one of these two guys, right? So why not give them the reins now at the start? Let them go. Let them get acclimated with the NFL. Start working with them, and then next year you're going to have them both next year, and then next year you can start competing in the division because starting Flacco to me makes no sense. Flacco's not taking, he's taking you absolutely nowhere. And Pickett hasn't been great. These young guys, give them a chance, and I think even though this will be a tough season with Shador possibly or Dylan Gabriel, as much games as they play and get acclimated to the NFL and the way, the speed and stuff of the game, it's really going to benefit you in year 2 and 3 with them because they're both coming back next year if you want. So give them the whole full season to really get things going and see where they can develop because sitting down just hurts their development going into year 2. Correct?
Correct. You know, Flacco on a 1-year deal and Pickett on a 1-year deal. The rookies got 4-year deals. So I think you should keep Flacco and let Pickett go so Flacco can mentor these young quarterbacks. But let Pickett, you was a first round draft pick and you got traded 2 years after you got drafted. Let's tell you something about Pickett.
Yeah.
Get some assets, whatever you can get out of him. You know, if you can get a travel van for the players, you know, trade that for him. Get a travel van.
Oh, yeah. Look, that's what James thinks of Pickett. Hey, we said we keep it 100 here, man. We tell you what we feel, and that's what we think we can get, or what James thinks Cleveland can get for Pickett. But all that being said, it makes more sense, really, for the young guys to play the full season from week 1 because playing these other guys, sitting these young guys just hurts their growth. You can benefit, the organization can benefit from these guys playing the whole season because next year they're both going to be there for the next couple of years, and year 2 should look a lot better than year 1 as far as competing. So hopefully that'll be the case. We're definitely going to keep a close eye on Stefanski, but we've said here, James, that if Stefanski starts Flacco, he might be losing his job.
He need to be fired and dumped just like Thibodeau.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're hearing it right here on GT 100.
And John Harbaugh, too, at Baltimore. You need to be fired, too, because you ain't did nothing in, 15 years? Get rid of him, too.
Well, going back to Harbaugh, he's got to win, James. He does. He's got talent. He's got talent. He's got to get over the hump. He's got. I mean, I
Give
know.
it
Yeah,
the
I know. Yes,
pass you. The game
yes,
down Harbaugh. It done passed him. The game done passed you.
yeah.
You ain't got with no defenses. The game done passed you. Time for you to go. Bring some new coaches in there, new energy.
I think you're right, James. Because look, if he doesn't, I mean, he's got talent. I mean, he's got to be able to win. I know the AFC stuff, but you got one of the best running backs, one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, you got more than a lot of teams don't have. A lot more.
Quarterback. You got a running back who ran for 1,900 yards.
I know, yeah,
You got to go.
yeah, yeah. If he doesn't win this year, we'll take a look at that. But I gotta
I
agree,
get rid of him.
and he should be good enough to get out of the AFC and into the Super Bowl. And he hasn't even been able to get to the championship game to the Super Bowl. Yeah, no, I think if he doesn't get there, and depending on where they lose, if he doesn't make it there, I think there's going to be talks about Harbaugh having to go and getting a new coach in there. Let's go to the AFC South. This is interesting because the Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans. So Houston, Texas, 10-7, Indianapolis 8-9, Jacksonville Jaguars 4-13, and the Tennessee Titans 3-14. So I think this is going to belong to Houston again
Yeah,
this year. Stroud, there were some injuries to the team last year. Healthy, we'll see what happens. Nico Collins will be there, and a couple of other new receivers.
Tank Dale get healthy, he gonna be all right.
There you go. Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Tennessee. We'll talk about them. So let's get with Houston. I got them winning the division. Why not? Last year, CJ Stroud going into year 3. I mean, this guy has been great. Last year, the numbers wasn't as successful, I think, as year 1, but there was a lot of injuries. He had to play with a lot of his players that he throws the ball to that were not there, and I think that really hurt them in the playoffs. In the season, they couldn't build that chemistry. Just one player out, one player in, the other player out. A lot of injuries. The running back core, I like. Any reason to think, James, that Houston will not be the top in their division?
I think Houston will win that division.
Okay.
They will. I like D'Amico Ryans as a head coach. They got a pretty good shutdown corner. And Stingley. They got Mixon. They got Nick Chubb. Nico Collins. Tank Dell come back healthy, man. They're gonna win the division because you got Tennessee, Jacksonville, and the Colts. Daniel Jones might start for the Colts. So what's that telling you?
They went 5-1 in their division, so I don't remember who they lost to in the division, but they were 10-7. What do you get? Are they going to be better than 10-7 this year?
I think they'll chop off a couple losses. Okay. They'll chop a couple losses from last year if they stay healthy. If they stay healthy. If they stay healthy. If they can protect CJ Stroud. They got a good chance to make some noise in the AFC. They do. They really do.
So, and if they stay healthy this year coming up, with the running backs, with the receivers, their defense is good.
Yes.
Their offensive line has been a little suspect, right? Like they got their offensive line, they've kind of struggled there. They've made some changes. Going to be some new faces, I think. Let me ask you this. If Houston gets into the playoffs, let's give you the top teams: Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati. Can you see Houston competing and beating all of these teams, or is there a team that I just mentioned that you see, no matter how good Houston is, they can't beat this team?
Houston they'll win a division, but the teams you named, they can't beat neither one of those teams.
Okay.
Not ready. They're not ready.
Okay. So you're talking the best they can do.
They're not going to be Cincinnati. They're not going to be Kansas City. They're not. They're still a couple years away. I like what they got. I like the young talent they got, but they're still a couple years away.
Okay.
It's a couple years away. It's still a couple years. And then you got to worry about Denver.
I know. And the Chargers. Yeah. No. I definitely. I mean, I see Houston winning the division with ease. I don't see them. I mean, they were 5-1 last year in the division, so I mean, I think they could even go undefeated this year in the division.
Yeah,
But in the playoffs would be a little different as far as those top teams. I mean, maybe they get to the second round, maybe they get a home. They win the division, they're going to get a home game in Houston. They'll
yeah.
win it. Once they get onto the road, then it starts with one of those two teams, one of those three, four teams that I mentioned, and that's where it starts to get real difficult. So we're saying here they'll win the division, the Texans. We both agree on that. They may win their home playoff game, but then when they get on the road, they could be done. But they cannot, according to James, beat these other top teams in the AFC. Not at least this year coming up.
Don't have enough.
There you go.
Don't have
So
enough.
the next team, the Colts. Um, so they were 8-9 last year, 5-3 at home. They were really bad on the road, 3-6, but 3-3 in the division. So I think they're going to be worse off now, James. Anthony Richardson is hurt again. And then his backup is Daniel Jones. So let's talk about their quarterbacks. What do you think about their quarterbacks and the way they're situated? Let's say Anthony Richards is healthy. Um,
Anthony Richardson, if he's healthy, he's still learning the game of football. He's learning how to play the position at quarterback. Once he learned that, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He really is. Daniel Jones. Okay. All I'm going to say is Daniel Jones. That's it. You had one good year, and got paid, and then the next year, they cut you. Send you on your way. Let me tell you about Daniel Jones. But they did. I think the coach need to get a good quarterback coach to mentor Anthony Richardson because he's big, he's strong, he got a strong arm, he can throw it 60 yards. But they need a coach who can really just mentor him and show him how to play the position at quarterback. Not Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones just like Joe Flacco. Just like
but
Joe
younger, but younger, but younger. Look, um, I agree with you. Anthony Richards has all the physicality to be good, right? Strong arm, he's big, the mobility. So he has everything, all the intangibles, I guess you could say, to really be good. So he does need to be coached up and teach and taught how to play the game of football in the NFL because if he's done that correctly, he definitely could be dangerous because everything else is there. His arm is there, right? I mean, he's big, he's a big guy. Didn't play a lot in college either, right? So he's a young guy. I mean, I know he was drafted high, but I know that the coach took him knowing that he had not. He was still very raw. So the verdict still got to be out on him. He still got a ways to go. I think the Colts are willing to stick it out. I think they know what they got. I think they realize what you're saying here, right? They know what they have there, and it's going to take some time. And I think they're patient enough to understand. We know we got something special here. We're going to keep working with him. Still a very young cat. Let's see what he can do. But definitely they're going to stick him around. But if he's not healthy this year to play, and he's not healthy now, and they go with Daniel Jones, how many games do they win with Daniel Jones?
3.
Okay.
And you know what? I don't even know what 3 they're gonna win. I just said 3. I don't know what 3 they're gonna win.
Well, 3 means they're not going to win a lot.
They practice squad. That's one win.
Yeah. Three means they're not going to win a lot, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah, no, I definitely they need Anthony Richardson. He gives them the better chance to win. And so, look, I think the Colts are gonna struggle. They were second. I don't have them at second this year. The team I have in second is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were 4-13 last year, 3-5 at home, 1-8 away, 3-3 in the division. But they got Trevor Lawrence out there.
I
Uh,
got I got Tennessee going second.
Ooh, I think Jacksonville is going to be better than 4-13. What's your thoughts on Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence?
I got Tennessee going second.
Wow,
Trevor,
Cam
you
Ward.
know, you had a Super Bowl winning head coach, and Doug Peterson. You've had the weapons at Jacksonville. You had them. Etienne. You had the weapons. You had the good wide receivers. You had them, but you still didn't do nothing.
That's why he's gone. That's
But
exactly why he's gone.
I just think, honestly, I always thought Trevor Lawrence was overhyped. I
Okay.
thought he's overhyped. He's overhyped. Trevor Lawrence overhyped. You had the weapons around you, and you still couldn't do nothing. This year you got Travis Hunter. We don't know. I don't even know what position he's gonna play.
Um,
I see. I think
offense. Yeah,
go second. Be second in the division.
yeah. They got him playing offense, which you and I have talked about. We don't understand, and we're definitely gonna be talking more about Travis Hunter in the weeks to come before training camp opens up. But I got Jacksonville. I think they're gonna be better than the 4-13. Now I did not have them. I had them second. But you say Tennessee is gonna supersede Jacksonville and Indianapolis. So they got the number one pick, Cam Ward. Why do you have Tennessee? Why do you think they can be the second in the division?
I think Tennessee they got more talent.
Okay.
Well, people fail to realize Tennessee has more talent than Jacksonville. Travis Etienne, okay, the young rookie receiver they had last year, a good receiver. He's a nice receiver. He's gonna be. They got Travis Hunter. Like you said, we don't know what position he's gonna play. But Tennessee. I like what Tennessee has in the running back room, the wide receiver room, and the tight end room. I like what Tennessee has, and I think Cam Ward is gonna plateau them to the second place in the division.
Okay. I gotta see a little bit more from Cam Ward. I think he'll be good. I don't know. I mean, maybe they will. I know Tennessee they went 3-4. They only won 3 games last year. They didn't have a quarterback. And a lot of the 3 wins that in 14 losses was because they didn't have a good quarterback at that position. So Cam Ward comes in. I think it's an upgrade for Tennessee. I don't know if in year 1 he gets them to that. I haven't seen their schedule. I need to see their schedule, but in the division, I don't know that I would put Tennessee up there. But that's why we have these debates here on the podcast. What makes it interesting? So you have them going second. Like I said, I don't know if Cam Ward would be that dude in year 1 to get to that spot. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. We'll see what Callahan does there. I think he's the head coach there at Tennessee. But it's definitely an upgrade. Cam Ward would be an upgrade from what they had. But can he win enough games to get him to that second spot? We shall find out. It's going to be good. But again, we have Houston. So let's just sum this up. You have Houston 1, Tennessee 2. Who do you got at 3?
Jacksonville.
Okay. And then you got Indianapolis.
Colts.
Okay. So I have Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Tennessee. Okay. We'll see how that goes. So I'm not giving a lot of respect to Tennessee. So Cam Ward's going to say, hey, buddy, I heard your podcast. So check this out. And then he's going to call James and say, James, let him have it. Because I remember that podcast where he had us last. So you had a second. So he's going to call you and tell you to let me have it on the podcast. But I have Tennessee last. I got to see Cam Ward. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. I do. But I don't know if in year 1 he'll do enough. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's how it is for the AFC South. We'll go to the last one, the AFC West. And this is where it gets really interesting because you got the Kansas City Chiefs last year at 15-2, winning the division. Then you had the Los Angeles Chargers, 11-6, the Denver Broncos, 10-7, the Las Vegas Raiders, 4-13. So let's do it differently. Let's go from the bottom up. Let's go to the Las Vegas Raiders. You know their head coach, Pete Carroll. They decided to go old school with the old guy to bring him in. No one thinks that Pete Carroll is going to take this Las Vegas Raiders team to the Super Bowl. That's not what they think, but they think he can help build them and start putting the team together to help them build. He probably won't reap the benefits of what he's helping build, but he's okay with that, I guess. Not a bad pick. They had Antonio Pierce. I told you I didn't like all that stuff that happened last year. But now they've got an experienced coach, a coach that has won the Super Bowl year before, so he knows how to win. But at 4-13, he really doesn't have a quarterback. Where do you have the Raiders finishing the division? And what do you think they'll do this year? Will they win more than 4 games?
The Raiders last in the division. They'll win a couple more games than they won last year. I give them 6 games.
Okay. But not more than that. What are your thoughts on Pete Carroll? The Raiders hiring Pete Carroll to coach the Raiders. Did you like that pick?
Well, they needed somebody. I think Pete is a good coach, but you know, you NFL teams are steady hiring these coaches that's 65 or 70 plus.
Okay.
The game is passing those coaches. And when they're going to realize that the game is passing those coaches? It's a young man's game now. You need young coaches, young energy. Not these old coaches bring that old energy. They'll win 6 games. That's about it.
I have them at last place too, James. I like the hire for Pete Carroll because, like you said, they needed somebody. I mean, let's get real. They were not going to
hold
win.
on a minute.
Yes, sir. They were not going to win. I'll wait. Go ahead. No problem.
Go ahead, Gabe. Had to stop and do something.
No problem. No problem. So I was just looking at the quarterback before we jump off of the Raiders. Geno Smith. So you know Geno Smith. You know Pete Carroll. I want to get your thoughts on the Raiders going after Geno Smith. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for leaving the Seattle Seahawks. That's why I feel about Geno. Geno, you was a career backup. Career backup. Seattle gave you a chance to start. In the big game, you never showed up. One game you played good, one game you know where to be found. So thank God. I pray to God that Geno Jennings is in the Las Vegas Raiders. Thank you, Pete Carroll. Carry on.
Wow. Yeah, I know you're not too high on Geno Smith. Let's go to the third place team last year. That's the Denver Broncos. They went 6-2 at home, 4-5 away. They were 3-3 in the division, but this is a team that is going to be better than last year. Sean Payton, we knew when he got hired on, is a great coach. I think he's a real good coach.
Yeah.
He's a super. I say great because he's won a Super Bowl. And in the short period of time he's been in Denver, he's already made an impact there. In a tough, I don't have them past Kansas City for the division. But I think in the 2 games they play, I think they can at least split with Kansas City. Your thoughts on where you have Denver? They were third last year. Are you going to keep them there and move them up a slot or 2?
No, I'm keeping third. Keep them third.
Okay, you're going to give them third.
I like Kansas City. I like Denver, but you know they're a few players away from really contending.
Okay. And your thoughts on Sean Payton? What are your thoughts on Sean Payton as a coach?
I think Sean Payton. He coached some good teams. As assistant coach, he is assistant coach under some good head coaches, and I think he's going to turn that organization around. He's going to turn the organization around, and a couple years, 2-3 years, I think he'll have them contending for the AFC Championship. I love Bo Nix. I always have. When he's in Auburn, I love him. At Oregon, I love him. But a couple more years, then he have them, contending for the AFC Championship.
Okay. Give me just a second because my bad. Because I kind of shut something off the screen here. So just give me a chance. I'll get it right back up here. Okay, so see. So we're talking about Denver, Bo Nix. So you have them at third.
You get them at third.
Okay. I got them at second. I think they're going to pass the Chargers So who do you have at second? Chargers? Ooh, you have Kansas City at six. So you got the Chargers at number one? All
Exactly.
right. So, okay, let's just jump right into this. Why do you have the Chargers winning the division over Kansas City?
Because I love the draft picks the Chargers picked. I love their young guys. I love the quarterback. I love their wide receiver core. They got a great defense. I got the Chargers jumping Kansas City for number one. Going on a limb on that, let everybody know, Gabe, I got the Chargers jumping the Kansas City Chiefs.
Let me think here. I can't do that. I mean, I like the look. I mean, because the Chargers were 11-6. Kansas City was 15-2. I think, James, the Chargers, and I understand what you're saying. I don't think they're going to be better than Denver because
Denver. They're going to be way better. I'm telling you, Gabe. They're going to be way better than Denver. I got the Chargers number one in that division this year.
I know Kansas City's people are catching up with them, but the Chargers didn't. What did they show us last year? They got their ass beat by Houston, didn't they?
But they had some injuries.
Oh,
had some injuries.
Okay.
Oh, my brother, he's a winner. He's a winner. He built winners.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He built, but you're saying you like the Chargers because of what they have, what they drafted, right? Because
I like what they have and what they done last year. I like the defense. I just got them.
Yeah. No. This is what makes it very, very interesting. I mean, I love
jumping the Chargers. I got the Chargers 1, Kansas City 2, Denver 3. The Raiders last.
I love this. I love that you go out on the limb and pick them because that's what makes this podcast so interesting. Because once you do that, we can continue to talk and go back at it back and forth. That's why we go through this. And again, this is, and James may not change it, and I may not change it, but we do have the right as we see training camp, as we see the preseason, which I don't think the preseason is going to change much of what we're picking here, but we do have time to change certain picks because we will finalize this before week one starts. So that week, the first game is on that Thursday. So week one, it'll be the Cowboys and the Eagles. So on Wednesday, when we come on, we will finalize this and you guys can hold us accountable, right? On who's going to win the division. But this is a real out of their pick for James, because I didn't even know this was coming. So he's got the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Raiders. I've got the Chiefs still winning it. I just don't think that, but I think they're going to get knocked out in year two. And I still think they're better than the Chargers and the Broncos, but the Broncos and the Chargers are right there with them. James feels that Chargers are already ahead of them. But I've got Kansas City. I've got Denver at 2, the Chargers at 3, and Las Vegas at 4. We shall see what happens. This is what makes it very, very interesting. I love that you picked like this because it's just going to make for better podcasting down the road here when we talk about this. And then you guys can hold us accountable because it's being recorded and then it's being uploaded to our social media. So we can't go back and say, I didn't say this. I can't go back or James say, hey, we didn't do that. Then we just kind of pay the clip and there you go. You have it. That's why we do this. So it's going to be very interesting, but I love that pick. And we'll see if James will be right. Chargers take over the division this year. Kansas City, number 2, will be very, very interesting. James, the hour is up. It was great. Tomorrow we'll get into the NFC East, NFC North, and we'll get into all of those. I got a lot to say about my Cowboys. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But before I let you go, so I was reading up on here. So it's been reports came out. I don't know if you saw it. Haliburton will not play next year at all. We already knew that, but they've confirmed that now that he is completely gone. So now we're going to the NBA with Tyrese Haliburton now officially out. We knew that was going to happen. And with Miles Turner now gone, that's 2 big players for Indianapolis. Where do you have them next year? I mean, I think they're still good enough to make the playoffs, but this is going to be a very different team.
Make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
They're not going to make playoffs.
Ooh, that is that.
They're gonna be the East. The East is getting strong. You know, you got Philadelphia coming back strong. You know, Orlando done got. They'll be probably a 10 or 11 seed.
Whew, that is
Got
quite a
Haliburton and Miles Turner gone. How you gonna replace those two?
well. I mean, I think Pascal Siakam, if he stays, can still carry a load there because that guy can play. I mean,
Yeah,
I
when Haliburton got hurt, he ain't carry him then.
no, but I mean, and look, and people say Halliburton, maybe they would have won if he wouldn't have got hurt. I don't ever say that because I don't know. I mean, he was
Yeah.
definitely off to a great start, and that could be a possibility. Unfortunately, he got hurt, and we'll never know. But I think Pascal's still there. They're still pretty good. They're obviously not going to be the favorites. They weren't the favorites this year. They surprised a lot of people really by getting there. But I don't know that that's a drop from, man, that's a big drop, right? And I know Tyrese and Miles were a big group, but that team was still pretty good. So
So
you
he
don't even think they'll
have
make the playoffs?
Haliburton slack at the point guard position.
What was that?
Who's gonna take up for Haliburton at the point guard position?
Yeah. No, I mean, I know they're not going to be a top pick, but I thought that they would at least play the play-in tournament. I mean, I still think they're that good, but you might be right. I mean, if Philadelphia,
9 or 10 seed.
so Orlando and Detroit are better because these two are out because Miles is gone. So
Oh, definitely they better. Most definitely they better. Atlanta is better.
Atlanta, well,
They're better.
who?
Milwaukee gonna be better.
I don't think Milwaukee will be better than Indian. They don't have anybody but Giannis.
Yeah, but I think they'll be better. They'll be better than Indiana. We never know. You know, they made a trade today for the Heat made a trade for Norman Powell.
Yeah, they're still making trades. Yeah, no, they definitely.
So the
Um,
Heat better.
and you might be right. I mean, Halliburton is a big loss. Turner was another big loss. Not
Two
point
big
wise,
dogs.
but those are losses that they're not going to have. And if Philadelphia, look, if Joel Embiid's healthy and Paul George is healthy with Maxey,
Yeah,
man,
they got right.
yeah, they're right up there with, and maybe
Yeah,
even better than New York, or right up there with New York, and Cleveland. I mean, they've got to be a top three with these guys, right?
yeah, gotta be.
Philadelphia's problem is their health because imagine if Joel Embiid's healthy next year, and who is it? It's Joel and Paul George, and then they've got Maxi, who is probably the third, if you want to call him third option. Hell, he's a really damn good third option, probably the best third option out there.
Joel Embiid and Paul George are 2 and 3. That's Max's team.
It is. It is.
Max's team.
It is. It's so much, and that guy is so consistent. Yeah. But it looks like they're gonna try to run it back. Joel Embiid has not been healthy, pretty much last couple of years, but he still plays. But man, if they can keep those guys on the court for the full season, even if there's some injuries, but they can play, then they've got to be a favorite up there with New York and Cleveland because there's no way they're not. Yeah, but they got to be on the court to help Maxi. Maxi can shoot and he can score. He just needs help. If they're not playing, he can't do it all on his own. So it's gonna be very interesting. But so you have Haliburton, you have the Indiana Pacers not even making the playoffs, correct?
Do you think Indiana can beat Boston? And Boston might be an 8 seed.
I know. Without, I think they can compete with them because they're gonna have Brown. Tatum's gonna be out possibly the whole season. I'm sure he will be. They got rid of Holiday. They got rid of Porzingis. I mean, they've got Derek White still. Probably not. And Halliburton's gonna be a loss in Turner big time. But I still thought.
Exactly.
I still thought that they might be in the playoffs, but at maybe the 8th spot, 7th spot. I didn't have them out, but you could be right. It's going to be very, very interesting. Absolutely. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Again, we're still uploading, but we're definitely going to be going live. And once we go live, we're going to try to hit live on our YouTube, but it'll definitely be then shared over to our other social media platforms. So I did want to let you guys know before we go that GT Sports 100. We have a Facebook, we have a YouTube channel, we have a Twitter page, we have an Instagram page, and we're on TikTok. So you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. That's GT Sports 100. The podcast is GT 100 2025. It's real sports talk here with James Johnson, Gabriel Trevino, where we talk professional college sports. And we're definitely going to be on Spotify as well. So you can catch us on either one of those platforms. And like I said, if you want us to talk about a topic that we have not talked about, just let us know in the comment sections and we'll research it and we'll come on. We're scheduled to come on Monday through Friday. We're off on the weekend. Sometimes during the weekday, we may not be able to come in. Life happens, things end up happening where we might not be able to make it. But if we can make it, we're definitely Monday through Friday. James, I'll give you the final word like I always do here on the 100. Anything you want to add?
Yes, we had the big event in Caryville, Texas with the flood and everything. We're like everybody, man. The flood in with donations. Canned goods, clothing, toothbrushes, deodorant, whatever you can offer to that community. I would pledge you to donate to that community for what happened and pray for those families.
Yeah, James, I was praying. Yeah, yesterday, I came home and I felt really bad because, I was reading when I could all the stories that when they were finding them and the coach and the sisters, and it was just really heartbreaking. And just being down south of them a couple of hours, I've never seen anything like that. And man, even at work, I had tears in my eyes, right? Like I couldn't help myself not show emotion with everything, and the kids, the little kids. It was just really heartbreaking. Even today, I continue to read up, definitely having my prayers. But yeah, it was just something I'd never seen before, and it's really, really scary. So definitely get right, man. I'm religious, man. Get right with Jesus. Get right. I'm telling you, you got to, because there's no other way but the Lord's way. So thank you very much, James, for coming on. And we're both scheduled to come on tomorrow. We'll talk more NFL. We'll get to the NFC East and all those teams. And we'll talk WNBA. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've seen some stuff with Angel Reese talking some stuff. So I'll definitely get James's thoughts. So definitely catch us tomorrow. We'll upload this video in the evening. I'll upload this one here in about an hour. And you can check it on all of those platforms that I told you. It'll be on before I go to bed tonight. Thank you very much, James. Have a great one. And I'll see you tomorrow. Keep it 100.
Peace out.
Peace out. 361, like you say, 361.
Peace out.